Imagine for a second that you are sitting down to take a personality test.
Right, or like one of those end-of-year life audit checklists everyone does.
Exactly. You've got your pen ready, and you're bracing yourself for, the usual metrics.
Like where your career is heading or your emotional intelligence score.
Yeah, or maybe how aggressively you manage your investment portfolio. But as you look down at the paper, you realize this checklist is, well, it's not about making you a more productive employee.
Not at all.
And it's not about making you a more attentive friend either. Instead, this test is entirely designed to determine if you have successfully transcended the mortal realm.
Which is, I mean, it demands a complete inversion of how we normally measure a successful life.
It really does.
You're no longer auditing your earthly achievements. You are being asked to measure your total cosmic detachment, which obviously requires an entirely different set of metrics than we are used to in the modern world.
And that profound shift in perspective, that is the mission of our deep dive today.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one.
We are exploring a really incredible text written by Suifeng and edited by Kinyu, and it's dated July 7th, 2023.
Right.
The entire document basically functions as a rigorous self-assessment. Its stated purpose is to help you check if you have successfully cultivated yourself into what the text calls a Chanyuan celestial.
Yeah, and to really wrap our heads around the gravity of that term, Chanyuan celestial, we need to quickly look at the cosmology that's laid out in this text.
Let's do it.
So the immediate baseline goal of this cultivation is to reach a very specific realm called the 1,000-year world.
The 1,000-year world, okay.
Right. And the text describes this destination as a realm where you can enjoy infinite scenery and basically the absolute pleasures of life for a full 1,000 years.
Wow, just straight up pleasure for a millennium.
Exactly. But the real hook, the most important aspect of reaching this realm is that it means you completely escape the cycle of reincarnation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you are permanently unbound from returning to the mortal world.
Which is just an incredibly bold premise, And I should note here that the text actually points out there are even higher realms above this one.
Oh, right, for those who want to keep going.
Yeah, for those who wish to keep ascending through the cosmos, there is something called the 10,000-year world and another destination known as the Elysium Islands continent.
Beautiful names.
They really are. But Juefeng makes it very clear that if you just want to hit that 1,000-year baseline and essentially stop the wheel of reincarnation, you simply need to meet the 8 specific criteria laid out in this document.
Just 8 criteria.
Just 8. So that is our focus today. We are looking at the foundational test.
And what makes this document so compelling to me is that it takes this highly abstract spiritual philosophy and forces it into a very practical, unyielding checklist.
Right. It's not vague at all.
No, not at all. The very first hurdle on this journey requires us to examine the physical and material prerequisites of this cultivation. We really have to look at the mechanics of what it actually means to untether from the mortal world.
And what strikes me immediately when looking at the sources is how the text measures this detachment.
How do you mean?
Well, it doesn't allow for just some vague internal feeling of being like less materialistic.
Yeah.
Instead, it asks this brutal hypothetical.
Oh, the go bag scenario.
Yes. It asks, if you were told to go to another place immediately, could you grab a bag, walk out the door in just a few minutes, and feel absolutely zero emotional pull toward the people, the things, or the objects you're leaving behind?
I mean, it is the ultimate litmus test for physical and emotional entanglement.
Right. Zero emotional pull.
Yeah, you can't just intellectually claim you're detached from your environment. You have to literally possess the psychological architecture to sever your life's ties on a 5-minute timeline.
5 minutes.
Yeah, without a single backward glance.
Which is wild. If we try to map that onto our modern reality, you almost have to picture the absolute extreme version of a radical minimalist.
Like a digital nomad.
Exactly. Someone who lives out of a single backpack.
Right.
But even then, I mean, a digital nomad is usually deeply attached to their laptop.
Oh, for sure. Or their passport.
Or just curated sense of freedom. But this text is asking for a purely spiritual go bag.
A spiritual go bag, I like that.
It's this internal state where the lease on your apartment, your vintage record collection, and even your closest social circles simply exert zero gravitational pull on your consciousness.
And the crucial distinction the text makes here is the difference between physical poverty and psychological release.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
Well, you could forcefully strip a person of all their worldly possessions, right? Put them in a completely empty room.
Right.
But their mind might still be agonizing over what they lost. Or they might be obsessively plotting how to get it all back.
Oh yeah, the resentment would be huge.
Exactly. So the text is not dictating a vow of physical poverty. It says your heart must be free from entanglements, which means the objects can exist around you, but they do not exist inside you.
That is a fascinating distinction, but it actually brings me to a major pushback I had while reading this.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's specifically regarding the text's requirement to reach a state of, quote, having nothing yet possessing everything.
Right, criterion 2.
Yeah. The document explicitly states that a Chanyuan celestial must no longer worry about the basic necessities of life: food, clothing, shelter, and illness.
Yep.
And, I mean, I understand the poetry of that sentiment. I really do. But how does one reconcile that with the brutal reality of human biology?
The biological imperative.
Right. If I am sitting in the freezing cold with no shelter, my body will physiologically react. If I have no food, my stomach literally secretes ghrelin, and my brain screams at me to eat.
Oh, yeah, you can't just meditate away at dropping core temperature.
Exactly. So how does a person overcome the literal biological imperative to survive without worrying?
That is the core biological friction of this entire philosophy. It's a great question. To understand how a Chanyuan celestial navigates this, we really have to separate the physical sensation of discomfort from the psychological terror of lack.
Okay, physical sensation versus psychological terror.
Right, because the anxiety we feel over shelter or illness doesn't usually stem from the present millisecond, does it?
Well, no, I guess not.
It stems from the ego's demand for future security. We are terrified of freezing to death tomorrow. We are terrified of starving next week.
Oh, I see.
The text implies that this timeline of expectation is what actually impoverishes us.
So by severing that timeline of expectation, the celestial isolates their consciousness strictly to the present moment,
Yes.
like where they are currently biologically still breathing.
Precisely. They eradicate the terror of lack. I mean, think about it. If you look around the room you're sitting in right now, your sense of security is likely tied to the invisible threads connecting you to your stockpile.
My stockpile, like my savings account.
Your savings account, your pantry, your health insurance.
Right, right.
We truly believe those external things generate internal safety. But the Chanyuan Celestial has completely reversed that mechanism.
They reversed it.
Yeah, they cultivate a profound internal security that renders the external stockpiling totally irrelevant. You, quote unquote, possess everything because your peace of mind is no longer held hostage by the physical world's threats.
Wow.
You might feel the sensation of cold, sure, but you do not experience the psychological suffering of being cold.
Okay, let's say I actually manage this. I sever my timeline of expectation. I pack my spiritual go bag, I drop my attachment to my possessions, and I somehow achieve this profound internal security.
Sounds like you're doing great.
Right. But then I step outside my door, and I run into an immediate problem.
Which is?
I still have to live in a society composed of people who are deeply, obsessively tethered to their stuff and their timelines.
Ah, yes, other people.
Exactly. How does an entirely untethered person survive in a tethered society without just constantly clashing with everyone?
That is exactly where the text naturally progresses. Once you sever material attachments, you have to address social friction.
Okay.
The checklist requires you to exist in perfect harmony with your environment, all living beings, and people. It explicitly demands zero animosity, zero disputes, and zero disharmony.
Zero disputes. That's a tall order.
It is, and it couples that with absolute adaptability. You must follow natural relations and take advantage of opportunities as they arise.
You know, it sounds like it requires a completely different mechanism for moving through the world. Like switching a machine from gears that grind against each other to like magnetic levitation.
Oh, that's a brilliant analogy.
Because you're still moving forward, right? You're still interacting with your environment and taking advantage of opportunities, but you have removed the physical contact, the ego, that causes wear and tear and friction.
Exactly. The levitation removes the grinding.
But wait, does living with absolutely zero disputes mean you just become a total doormat?
A lot of people think that, yeah.
I mean, how do you seize an opportunity without asserting your will and potentially causing a dispute with someone else who wants that same opportunity?
To understand that, we have to really look at why disputes happen in the first place. Think about the last time you argued with someone.
I'd rather not, but okay.
It was almost certainly because your ego felt threatened, right? Or your identity was being challenged, or your material attachments were at risk.
Yeah, that's fair. I was defending my territory.
Right. But if you have genuinely met the earlier criteria we just discussed, you've already abandoned your material attachments and your desperate need for societal validation.
Oh, I see.
There is literally nothing left for you to defend.
So you literally cannot have a dispute because you have no stake in the worldly game anymore.
Exactly.
You cannot pull on a rope if you have already dropped your end of it.
That's it, perfectly. You drop the rope, and think about the sheer amount of mental energy that frees up.
Oh, it would be massive.
We spend a huge percentage of our cognitive bandwidth defending our territory, managing our image, and holding grudges against people who wronged us.
Too much time, honestly.
Because the Celestial has dropped the rope, all that energy is liberated. And this is how they can seize opportunities so fluidly.
Because they aren't distracted.
Right. When you aren't bogged down by animosity, your vision clears. You become incredibly responsive. You adapt instantly to whatever the universe places in front of you, not by forcing your will onto the world, but by recognizing the natural flow of events and just stepping effortlessly into it.
Like water.
Exactly like water.
Which obviously requires an absolute scrubbing of the emotional hard drive.
Yes, it does.
And the text gets very, very specific about this.
Right.
It states that your consciousness must be completely devoid of regret, hatred, or sorrow.
None at all.
It must contain only gratitude, contentment, and satisfaction. And if you were listening to this right now, I want you to think about that one incredibly awkward text message or email you sent 3 years ago that still makes you cringe when you try to fall asleep.
We all have one.
Right. Or think about a genuine deep betrayal you suffered. This text is asking you to not just forget it, but to view it with pure, unadulterated gratitude.
Which is wild.
It demands a total biological rewiring.
It's arguably the most radical physiological demand on the entire checklist.
Yeah.
Because human beings literally evolved to catalog regrets and hold on to grievances.
Right, it keeps us alive.
Exactly. It's a primal survival mechanism. Your brain is hardwired to remember the heat of the fire so you do not burn your hand twice.
Right.
It remembers who betrayed you so you can avoid them in the future. The brain tags those memories with emotional pain, sorrow, regret, hatred, specifically to ensure you don't forget the lesson.
So to eradicate regret and sorrow means you are actively overriding millions of years of an evolutionary defense mechanism.
Yes, you are telling your brain that the mortal survival game is officially over.
Wow.
To hold zero hatred means you have truly forgiven everything, and that includes your own missteps.
Which is often the hardest part.
It really is. You have processed the past so completely that those memories are stripped of their emotional threat tags.
They're just data.
Exactly, neutral data. And when the pain is gone, the space it leaves behind is filled with the gratitude of having experienced it at all. It is a state of total emotional frictionlessness.
So, okay, we have systematically dismantled the human experience here.
Yeah, really.
We've eliminated material attachments, we have removed the gears of social friction, and we have totally wiped the biological hard drive of all emotional baggage.
We are traveling very, very light.
Traveling perfectly light. But once you strip away all those worldly layers, the text presents the ultimate existential test.
The final boss, so to speak.
Right. You're left entirely alone with your relationship to time, your future, and your own mortality.
Yeah, this is where the self-assessment moves from, radical lifestyle detachment into a profound redefining of what existence actually is.
And it sets up what appears, at least to a modern reader, to be a massive, mind-bending contradiction.
Yes.
Well, on one hand, the text requires you to exist daily in a state of joy, happiness, and freedom with absolutely no mental pressure.
Right, criterion 8.
Yeah. And it specifically says you must hold a boundless anticipation for an infinitely beautiful future where your nature can radiate brilliantly.
It really paints a picture of someone who is just vibrating with optimism. They are deeply, passionately excited about what happens next.
But then you look at another requirement on this exact same checklist, criterion 3.
Yeah.
It states that if you were faced with immediate death right in this very moment, you would feel absolutely no fear. In fact, you would joyfully open your arms and embrace death's arrival today.
It sounds contradictory.
I have to push back on this because, practically speaking, how does that not turn our current existence into a glorified waiting room?
A waiting room.
Yeah. I mean, if I am incredibly excited about an infinitely beautiful future, but I'm also joyfully ready to die this afternoon, am I not just sitting at a cosmic bus stop? Aren't I completely devaluing the human experience I'm currently living in?
That quote-unquote waiting room critique is exactly how the conventional human mind processes this paradox.
Okay, tell me why I'm wrong.
Because we fundamentally view death as the ultimate interruption. We see our timeline as a straight line here on Earth.
Right.
So, if you are excited about seeing your children grow up or launching a new project next year, death is the tragedy that abruptly cancels those beautiful futures.
It stops the line.
Exactly. A waiting room implies boredom, a desire to be elsewhere, and a frustrating delay before your real life begins.
Right. If I am in a waiting room, I am inherently dissatisfied with my present moment. I want the doctor to call my name.
But the Chanyuan celestial experiences no friction and no dissatisfaction with the present. We have to bring this back to the destination we established at the very beginning, the thousand-year world.
Okay.
For a fully cultivated being, death is not an interruption of the timeline. It is simply a doorway to the next realm. The text is demanding the complete eradication of the concept of interruption entirely.
Ooh. So the infinitely beautiful future they are anticipating is not a future here on Earth.
Exactly. The anticipation and the embrace of immediate death are the exact same emotion.
Wait, they're the same emotion.
Yes. If death arrives today, the celestial rejoices because the beautiful future they have been boundlessly anticipating in the thousand-year world is finally beginning.
Wow, okay.
But if death does not arrive today, they also rejoice because they are existing in a state of perfect harmony and contentment right now.
So they aren't waiting for the train.
No, they're already enjoying the journey. They are perfectly indifferent to when the scenery changes. They have conquered the ultimate human fear by redefining the entire architecture of mortality.
That reframing perfectly explains the requirement of having zero mental pressure.
Doesn't it?
Because the crushing mental pressure we all experience daily is entirely generated by our attempts to control a timeline we cannot actually control.
We try so hard.
We do. We stress over achieving milestones by age 30. We panic about the aging process. We desperately try to delay the doorway of death.
Right.
By accepting that the earthly timeline is irrelevant, the pressure naturally drops to absolute zero.
The individual who meets these criteria has stepped entirely outside the paradigm of time management. They exist in a state of perpetual grace. They do not cling to the present millisecond, and they do not fear the exit.
Man, if you are listening to this and keeping score on your own internal audit, you might be realizing just how heavy the invisible strings tying you to your life really are.
It's a heavy realization.
It really is. But Xu concludes the document with a highly pragmatic summary. He states that if you genuinely find yourself in the state described by these 8 criteria, well, congratulations are in order.
You did it!
Yeah, your cultivation is successful, the beauty of your future is beyond words, and you have officially bypassed the grueling cycle of reincarnation.
But the text is also deeply realistic, which I appreciate. It acknowledges the monumental difficulty of this biological and psychological rewiring.
It doesn't expect you to do it overnight.
No, it concludes by noting that if you have not yet reached this baseline state, there is no cosmic judgment. You simply need to continue your journey of self-improvement and cultivation. The directive is just to keep doing the internal work.
It is a remarkable conceptual framework, truly. Whether you view it as a literal cosmological roadmap or just as a profound philosophical thought experiment about what it actually takes to be truly, fundamentally free.
It does something very powerful. It forces you to examine the foundational messaging we receive from the moment we are born.
Oh, absolutely.
Think about how society functions. We spend our entire lives laboring to build deep, entangled ties with our communities.
Networking.
Right, networking. We exhaust ourselves acquiring secure homes and stockpiling resources against the terror of tomorrow. We passionately defend our viewpoints and our egos because we are told that our identity and our friction with the world are what give us meaning.
That's the script we're handed.
We operate on the assumption that attachment is the very fabric of a fulfilled life.
We think the heavier the anchor, the safer the ship.
Precisely. But looking closely at the mechanics of these 8 criteria, it leaves us with a deeply subversive question to ponder entirely on our own.
What's that?
What if the entire foundation of our societal operating system is backward? What if the total, absolute release of our worldly ties, our stockpiled possessions, and our desperate need to control the timeline is actually the only mechanical path to experiencing true, unshakable joy?
A completely different way to measure a life. Definitely a checklist worth keeping in your back pocket. Until next time.